Hello, hello. For anybody that's there, I'm Mark and I'm with STR Cribs. And today I'm going to chat a little bit about um, the distinct things to look for when purchasing your next short-term rental, Airbnb, VRBO style property that you're going to rent out to people on vacation. And so what I'm going to do is maybe just give another minute or two. It looks like people are starting to roll in. And while I'm doing that, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself. So I've been a super host myself with a couple of short-term rental properties. Me and my wife self-manage those homes. So we've really kind of gone through the ringer and got our feet wet and learned what it takes to not just buy and set up and create a great short-term rental, but also to manage it. Hospitality is one of those things that sounds like fun, and it is, quite frankly, a lot of fun. It can be very rewarding, but it's very time consuming. Just kind of like being a realtor, right? It's weekends, late night phone calls, things like that. And so that's been a journey. We're avid travelers. We kind of fell in love with vacation rentals because we like to travel and we have small children, and hotels just weren't a great option for us. We always travel with our dog, couple kids. It's really nice to have a house or kind of your own private property and not be in a hotel. And so we fell in love with the vacation industry, and that's how we ended up here. And so at STR Cribs, what we do is we're a design and renovation company. We're licensed general contractors. We work in about 30 states, and we take vacant properties and turn them into really amazing resort style vacation homes that have really high revenues. And so what I'm going to do today is talk to you about what we've seen after setting up about 500 properties and what to kind of look for, whether you're looking for a property for you or whether you're trying to help identify a property for one of your clients that would make a great short-term rental, Airbnb. I see we got a couple people from Florida as well. I'm based out of Navarre Beach, Northwest Florida, and our team is based out of Tampa. We're based out of Clearwater. And so, with that in mind, please bear with me a little bit. I did not have as much time to prepare this presentation as I was hoping for, as we've been reeling from the hurricane, like a lot of people in this part of the country. About half of our team right now is living in hotels or other short-term rental accommodations because their properties have been seriously damaged. And we are working diligently, not just to get our employees' homes back set up, but help our clients get their properties set up. And so, yeah, without further ado, let me share my screen and let's get after it. So yeah, really guys, just talking about today, focusing on kind of 5 areas of what you can look for when identifying properties. And then this is just kind of go over what we've already talked about. We do construction, floor painting, additions, bathroom remodels. We do full designs, interior, exterior. We provide all the furniture, decor, and essentials, everything that you need for your property. And we've set up a little over 500 homes, so it's been really fun. Getting right to it. So real estate advantages. What do I look for, and what have I seen other people look for when buying properties to make short-term rentals, and what has been successful? The first one, in my opinion, and seems kind of cliche, but it's definitely location. Location, location, location. Like anything in real estate, if you can be close to beaches, stadiums, the reason that people are visiting town. I always like to ask myself, if I'm looking at a market, why are people coming to that market? Who's the guest avatar, and what will they be doing in town? If I'm at a beach town where I live, well, that's the draw. It's the beach. Everyone wants to come to the beach. And so as close to the beach as I can possibly get, there's a big difference between a 25-minute drive and a 12-minute drive when you're on vacation, getting closer access to the beach. And so I really look at location when I'm coming into a new market. And then I do the same thing for any market. So I'm trying to buy a property in Huntsville, Alabama. If you don't know it very well, it's the home of NASA. There's a lot of kids' summer camps, and it's Rocket Town, USA. I'm trying to find properties that are close to the NASA headquarters and the kids' summer camp, because that's where I know that my guest avatar is coming, what they're coming for, and what they want to be close to. So I'm definitely looking at location. as kind of the number one thing when I'm viewing a property. I also don't know. Yeah, and sorry guys, I usually have my team help me put these slides together, but I'm gonna have to unshare and reshare. If you give me just a sec, because I'm not great at setting up these slides and I didn't do it right. So let's share again. I wanted to show you a unique property, a real world example, right, of location. And so we've seen a lot of people start to invest in Green Bay. And I wanted to show you some properties that I see and what I really like when I've seen people looking in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Obviously, the Packers. It's the home of the Packers, and location to the stadium makes a huge difference. And so I found this property that is literally a 3-minute walk to the stadium, to the parking lot, to the tailgating, to everything. And it's their second photo when they're listing. So they realize that the location of the property is very valuable. And if I was setting up a short-term rental in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I would want to be within walking distance of the stadium. I would also design, furnish, amenitize my property to be Green Bay Packers related. And then I would charge a huge premium on home game days. You'd have 6 games a year where you would probably charge 5 to 6 times your average nightly rate for those weekends. And you could block out, hey, you've got to book Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You've got to take the whole weekend. And I would make 50 to 60% of my revenue on this home during football season. And so like, this is what I'm talking about location. There's a reason people are coming to Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's not to go to the beach. It's to go to the Green Bay Packers game. And I would definitely think about that when I was buying real estate in that market. And so that would be really what I would encourage you on slide number 1 here, is just think about why folks are coming to town, what they're going to be looking to do, what's the draw, and then find real estate that's close to that. Okay. Next, number 2. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll go through these slides relatively quickly and try to leave the last 10 to 15 minutes for questions so that we can just chat through it. And then this will be uploaded to Lab Coats Agents YouTube. I'll throw it up on our STR Cribs YouTube channel if you want to rewatch or share with anyone. And so then real estate advantage number 2, heads and beds. The more people that you can accommodate in your property, the higher your revenue is going to do. And so when I look at properties that accommodate 12 people versus properties that accommodate 8 people, we see on average a 30% increase in revenue for those 4 extra people. And it doesn't seem like a lot because it's not really a lot, but it makes a drastic difference if you go from accommodating 8 to accommodating 12. And so how can you do that? Well, you can look for properties with higher square footage that maybe don't have as many bedrooms, excuse me. And so you put the filter on and you say, hey, I know I probably want a 4 or 5 bedroom to accommodate 12 people. We're having a hard time finding anything in my client's price range or in my price range in that 4 to 5 bedroom category. But what if you just set the filter on square footage and leave it at a 3 bedroom? We know a 3 bedroom won't accommodate 12 people, but maybe that 3 bedroom has an office or a garage space that can be converted, or a bonus room that could go into a bedroom. Or like I see a lot of times, and I'm sure you guys do, you've got a lot of these older 70s, 80s style, 1970, 1980 style properties that were built with 2 dining room spaces. And so could I look at a house that has extra square footage, an extra dining room, and really easily make one of those extra dining rooms a 4th bedroom with just a little bit of work? So those are things that I definitely look for. Because having more people, higher occupancy is going to lead to a direct reflection on an increase in revenue. And it's massive. It's a huge difference to go from 8 to 12 people. And so what I want to do is I want to actually show you a property that we did that on. This property was only a 4 bedroom and was a guest count of 12 when we first went to do the work on it. We increased it to a 16 plus occupancy, added a 5th bedroom. And how we did that was with a garage conversion. So this bedroom you see here that accommodates 4 people with the built-in bunk beds was in fact the garage. And I'll actually show you another angle of that room and you'll go, wow, it is a garage. Just a sec right here. So This was a garage space. You can actually see in the photos, this was the original garage door that got removed. And when we zoom in, there's actually cars parked in the driveway. And so we utilize that extra space that in a Florida market would not have been used. It would have been an empty space. People would have maybe thrown their beach stuff in there, but it's just an unused space, the garage. And we were able to increase the occupancy by 4, generating a lot of additional revenue for the owner. And so look at those extra spaces. It might only be a 3 or 4 bedroom. How could I get it to a 5 or a 6 bedroom to increase occupancy? Because you know the more guests that you can accommodate, the higher that you can charge for a nightly rate. And so that's my tip number 2. Look for extra space, see how you can accommodate more people, and you can get creative in doing so. Number 3, this is really one of my favorite things is unique and niched properties. So when we go to Airbnb, which is going to be the main lead driver for most of our businesses when we're in the short-term rental space. Yes, there's a lot of other online platforms. There's booking.com, there's VRBO. A lot of folks are getting into Book Direct. But at the end of the day, Airbnb is the biggest driver of traffic to your business, to your property. And when we click right on their homepage, what is Airbnb advertising? They're advertising unique stays. I mean, this is the main page. They're advertising Polly's Pocket Play. They're advertising Train at the X-Man facility. They're advertising unique, cool properties. And then they have all of these that is their focus point. National parks, cabins, amazing views, play, tree houses, just what they want to, they don't want to, they are pushing unique, fun experiences. And so with that in mind, when your biggest driver of guests is pushing unique, fun experiences, what can you do to identify a property that meets that mold and that marketing play? And so what we've seen is when you look at cabins in Tennessee, they're earning 28% more cabin style homes than standard built properties. And so if I was looking in Tennessee and I saw a normal standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that had drywall walls and just looked like a everyday construction property, I would need to know that because that's not a cabin style home, it's not as in high of demand as other properties in the same market. So it's something to consider. It might not be as valuable, the real estate, when you're buying it for a short-term rental than it would be if you're buying it for yourself. And so those are all things to consider. Airbnb is pushing unique niche stays. The revenue proves that in certain markets, unique properties that meet that kind of aesthetic look and feel of what people are looking for. If I'm going to the mountains and I'm going to have a weekend in Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, well, most guests want to stay in a cabin. It just kind of feels and looks and fits with the vacation. If I'm going to the beach, well, I want to stay in a beach style property close to the beach because that's what I'm going for the vacation for. If I'm going to Orlando for Disney World, well, I probably want to stay in a Disney themed home because that's what me and my kids are going to do. And so I'd think about those things. When you see unique properties, they usually make great short-term rentals. So if you see something in your market and you go, gosh, this is really unique. This is a different type of home. This is a cabin, or this is a yurt, or this is just something that's different and stands out. It might not be a great single family home for someone because it's just too unique and weird, but it might make a great, amazing short-term rental. There's other things to consider. There's a long list. I wish I would have had time to throw all these in, but there are a lot of folks traveling in their own airplanes. There are a special category of properties in all these different markets on Airbnb that have landing pads, little airports, and hangars for people that are traveling with their own airplane. There's a lot of people that are traveling with boats or jet skis to have water access. And so really just think about that when you're looking at properties and go, hey, this is unique. This meets a small little demographic of people that would want to stay at this home and will pay a premium for it. And so then the last thing I'll say on this is, if you market to everyone, you market to no one. And so it's okay to have a really unique niche property. Those are the ones that do the best. And then number 4 is functionality. who's coming to your home? We've talked at the very beginning about why they're coming to the property, why they're coming to your market. But my next question would be, well, who's coming to the market? Is it a family? Is it an elderly couple? Is it just a couples retreat where a husband and wife are coming? Is it Nashville, Tennessee, where there's bachelor parties and bachelorette parties coming? Believe it or not, last year, Nashville outpaced Las Vegas for bachelorette parties. That's crazy. There are more bachelorette parties coming to Nashville, Tennessee right now than are going to Las Vegas, Nevada. And so that's something to think about. That's a huge market, a demographic, a group of young women that are coming to travel. And so does this property functionality wise meet their demands and their needs? Do you have enough parking? I'd ask myself if, I've got a property that's just off of I-5 and Interstate I-5 if you're from California or the West Coast. And we had a lot of people that were traveling up and down, that were moving up and down between states. And they were traveling with trailers, with U-Hauls. And so having a big parking spot and enough space to park a few vehicles or a big trailer was really important. And the property did really well because it had a huge parking area. And so that's just something to think about. We had identified who was going to be coming, why they were going to be coming, what they were bringing with them, which was big U-Haul trailers and big U-Hauls and trailers. And did we have enough parking for them? And we did really well. Yard size. If I've got families coming with kids, is there an adequate backyard for kids and dogs to play and run around in? And is it fully fenced? If it's a tiny little lot and it has no backyard space, but it has 6 bedrooms and can accommodate 20 people, and it's in a market that has great weather like California or Scottsdale, that might not be a great property. It's got the inside space, it's got the bedrooms, bathrooms, but it doesn't have an adequate outside space for large groups to gather and spend time and hang out together. So those are things I'd consider. Also look at dining room space. If your property sleeps 10 or 20, you need to be able to eat 10 or 20, right? I don't want to have a 6-bedroom house that has 20 people staying and have a tiny little breakfast nook that has a table with 4 seats on it. That's just not going to work. And so I need to make sure that the layout of the property accommodates and is functional for people, not just to sleep, to spend time in the backyard, but to eat. And then also look at the bedroom count. Kind of the rule of thumb is 4 to 5 guests per bathroom. You can push this. We have properties that we've seen do really well that maybe accommodate 16 people and only have 2.5 bathrooms. But at a certain point, if you're on vacation with a group of people, with friends and family, and you have limited bathroom space, it's not going to create a great experience for everyone when they're getting up, getting ready in the morning, needing to use the bathroom. And so that's something I would consider as well. What's our bathroom count? Do we have enough bathrooms for the guests? And so that's number 4. Is the property functional for who's coming? Does it accommodate everybody? Does it have the extra space that we need? Think about those things. And then number 5, to me, is just the X factor. Is what can I do that's really different, and what advantages does the real estate have that maybe other houses in this market don't have? And so one thing I see as a trend, people are always asking me, hey, what trends do you see? What can I do to kind of get ahead of the curve? 2 years ago, I was telling everyone it's families. You've got to really attract families and kids and groups traveling with small children. Now I think that there are a lot of people starting to do that. And what I see next is what Airbnb is actually pushing, which is accessibility features. I have a personal experience where I never thought about this ever. I stayed in 100 Airbnbs. We own a few. I never thought about this once until last Christmas, 2023. We'd rented a house. We'd rented 3 houses on one piece of property. And we had taken me, my parents, my sisters, their families, and then my grandparents tagged along. And my grandma's first question was, hey, what's the property like that we're staying in? And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, grandpa's in a wheelchair and has a prosthetic leg. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And so we actually had to switch to different accommodations about 2 months before. We changed up the accommodations because grandma and grandpa wouldn't have been able to stay with us at the property that we originally booked because there was no accessibility for grandpa. So do you have a property that's single story? Does it have wide doors? Is there handicap accessible parking? Like, do you have a home that you see that maybe could meet this criteria? And then that's your demographic. Hey guys, we're handicap accessible. Hey, we're elderly accessible. Hey, whatever that is, that's something to consider. And I see that being a big niche in the market where there's not anyone doing it. And I think that people will start to do it. And Airbnb is going to push it to be more inclusive to different types of guests. I would also think about things that your market doesn't have. If you're in a mountain town and every house is on the side of a hill with an amazing view, and you find a property that has a big flat space where you could do something with it, but no one else has flat space because you just happen to have a unique piece of real estate in that market, probably makes a great short-term rental. Do I have a property in Joshua Tree that happens to have a natural spring, and so everything around it just looks dead and like the desert, but this single property has a bunch of trees and greenage and foliage? Well, you can play on that because your property is unique and different and has an advantage in the market that no one else has. And then the construction edge. What can you do to the home? Like, if you look at a property and you say, man, this has a huge unfinished downstairs basement with natural light, but already has 5 bedrooms upstairs, I could turn that into a speakeasy or a huge kids game room or an indoor bowling facility. If there's something that could be done to the property because you have that extra unused space that would make it really unique, those would be things that I would look at when I was trying to find a great property to make short-term rental. And so I know that was long-winded. I don't want to take up the whole time just me talking, but I'm hoping that was helpful. I really see it as having 5 advantages in real estate, and just to kind of recap those is you go back through and it's location, location, location. Where's the real estate located? Is it close to why people are coming to town? 2, heads and beds. Do we have enough space? Is there extra room, square footage? Could we convert an office to a bedroom? Remember, short-term rental bedrooms don't have to have closets. And so it doesn't need a closet. It just needs a door and an egress window accessibility, and you've got a bedroom. So can I increase revenue by adding extra people? Can I find a home that's unique and that's niche to its market? And when someone thinks of going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, they're going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee because they're staying at this really cool historic cabin, or it has a great view, or whatever it is. What's unique about that property that will get people excited about wanting to stay there? Number 4, is the property functional for the guests that I have coming? Can I accommodate all of them? Can they sleep? Can they eat? Can they use the bathroom? Are they going to be comfortable? And then the last is just, what's that X factor? What can I do that's different in the market that no one else is doing? And really set my property up for success because I have a different property. And so then I'll leave it open to questions. If there's any questions, please throw them in the chat. We've got 5-10 minutes here, and yeah, guys, I hope that was really helpful. I think that for me, we always love working on projects all across the country, but we definitely like to spread the knowledge. And we've seen people buy the wrong home. It's hard to out-design, out-construct, out-add additions to the wrong property. And if you start with the right property, it's unique. You have the square footage. You're setting yourself up for success. You set yourself up to be so far away from your competition that it's tough for anybody to catch up. So I'll take some questions here. Lisa, how do you handle your property renovations timeline and materials? That's a great question. Every timeline is very different because every property is so unique in what they need. Our really niche is very much just kind of superficial construction. We like to do floors, paint, cabinets, simple upgrades that can be done quickly, as our goal on timelines is usually under 8 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks is kind of our desired outcome. There are some projects, like one we just started today in Florida that was completely ruined from the hurricane. It's going to be a 12-week, 14-week project. We've got to rip out every piece of drywall and insulation and start from complete scratch. And then as far as materials go, that's actually a great question. And so, I mean, we obviously order materials locally from your hardware store, builder supply store, things like that. but we do have certain materials that we use over and over again. And so like when we do a mini golf course in the backyard, we know the exact brand and sod that we want to get. When we do slides, like the one you saw on those bunk beds, we have a custom slide maker. We've used them for about 3 years. They build the slides for us custom and ship directly to the property. Furniture, decor, essentials. We order all of that stuff from about a dozen vendors. We like to use hospitality grade materials. And so when you see like a couch behind me, this is actually an article couch and it's an outside furniture. And so it's got a really heavy duty microfiber cloth. It doesn't stain very easily. It's super easy to clean. And we put it in a game room at this bachelorette party house in Scottsdale. And so if I would have thrown like just a standard white couch that you maybe would buy from like, I don't know, Aaron's Furniture or Ashley's Home Furniture that was just a pretty simple cloth, it would probably be covered in stains and completely ruined after a year or two. But because we know this is going to be a short-term rental, because we know that this is a game room with a pool table at a bachelor party house, these guys are going to be drinking beer, hanging out, eating food. We wanted to have a really good quality material for the couch. And so that's why we did something like that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of things that are maybe a little different that we do because we know it's going to be a short-term rental versus what you might do in your own home. And so I hope that answers your question, Lisa. We source a lot of things locally, but we do have a handful of vendors that we buy things over and over again because we know that they have good material that's going to last and stand the test of time. If anybody else has any other questions, throw them in the chat. I'm happy to jump into them. I'll drop my email in the chat as well, and I'm happy to take or field any questions that you guys might have. We do have a realtor referral program. And so if you're out there, you've identified a property for one of your clients, if you have questions, shoot me an email. I'm happy to tell you, hey, I think this would make a great short-term rental. Hey, I don't think it would make a great short-term rental because I'm seeing this, this, and this. We'll give you our thoughts on that, even pre-contract if you're just out there searching. But then when you do have a client under contract, we offer complimentary inspection report reviews. So if you're in the inspection phase and you want a licensed general contractor to view that inspection and price out repairs, give you some maybe negotiation material to go back to the sellers with, we're happy to do that for no cost. And then if you send someone our way and we help them design, decor, remodel, furnish the property, we have a realtor referral program. We work really closely with Lab Coats agents on, and it's typically somewhere around like the $1,500 to $2,000 referral fee to you as the realtor. And then quite frankly, guys, above the $2,000 that you'd get, we're going to create a very unique special home for your clients that's going to just absolutely crush it on the revenue front. They're going to do so well on their return that they're going to come back to you and say, hey, it's time to buy another one and time to buy another one. And that's really what I know you're all in the business of, is repeat referral clients. And so we want to be a great resource to you and be there to help your clients if they need any help in pretty much any market. So I was looking at projects yesterday, way up in the coast in California, almost to the Oregon border, and just started one in Tampa, Florida this morning. So we're really all over the place. And our niche is short-term rentals. So thank you everyone so much. The recording will go on YouTube. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via email, and we wish you all the best in your journey. I know that rates are coming down and I'm starting to see some good buying signs. So I hope that everybody here starts selling a bunch of houses. If they happen to be short-term rentals, let me know how we can help. And thanks guys. Take care. Thank you for joining.